Writing tickets for the smallest of reasons now, just everywhere raising money for themselves. And folks, as the economy gets worse and worse, they're going to squeeze you. And who's going to be punished is those that saved and didn't get into debt. You're going to be squeezed. They're going to seize your assets. The IRS is bulking up to get really vicious and mean. And now, those of you that have served the system, you're going to find out what tyranny really is. So get ready for it. Paul Watson, thanks for spending time with us.
Thanks, Alex.
Check out his information at prisonplanet.com, prisonplanet.tv, Infowars.com, Infowars.net, JonesReport.com, TruthNews.us. All right, I got to compose myself, focus, and try to do a major controlled treatise on the New World Order.
Well, I'm not the kind to kiss and tell, but I've been seen with Farrah. I've never been with anything less than a 9. So fine. I've been on fire with Sally Field, gone fast with a girl named Bo. But somehow they just don't end up as mine. It's a death-defying life I lead. I take my chances. I die for a living in the movies and TV. But the hardest thing I ever do is watch my leading ladies kiss some other guy while I'm bandaging my knee. I might fall from a tall building, I might roll a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman that made Redford such a star.
We're back live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
I've never spent much time in school, but I taught ladies plenty.
Let's talk about the nature of the New World Order and their plan. You know it is a weaponized governmental system by a group of private families based in Europe and the United States. They have stated they're building a world government where your every move will be regulated and controlled, where fireplaces are banned, where you have bureaucrats in your home every week, a block captain that checks you for carbon crimes. That's all been announced. Now it's being implemented in the U.S., England, and other areas. Your carbon taxes will be paid to the local government, state government, federal government, regional government, and directly to the private banks. We told you that years ago from the Club of Rome and UN documents. Now it's being publicly proposed. And you can say, well, the people won't go for that. The private banks are just seizing the governments and telling Congress, if you don't like it, you can have martial law. The British government's been caught, that is the criminal element of it, the illegitimate part, spying on every member of Parliament, trying to set them up and blackmail them. Again, the unelected part, the criminal part, they're just completely out of control. It's called tyranny. That happens 99% of the time in history. And somehow they taught the public tyranny couldn't exist in the West, which is so childlike. They were able to sell the public on that. So the public went to sleep. They said the media says there's no government corruption. Go to sleep. And then they took over. Or the corruption's always only in one party. And now they're setting up their scientific dictatorship. They plan to, in a controlled, consolidated fashion, bring the world economy down, then remonetize the debt through a new world banking system broken up into 4 major regional currencies: the North American currency, the Central and South American and Caribbean currency, the Asian currency, and of course the European Union currency. And you will have sub-derivations, subgroups of all those currencies, but they're all the same numbers, the same stamps, the same tracking system. Just like we all have national ID cards, as I told you, in 1997 in America, destroyed by design. I had the federal documents. I show them. I read them on screen. But it still says Texas driver's license, New York driver's license. But it's federalized, a federal number in a federal database. Comprende? Adios, freedom. And now they admit that's what it is. Again, I'm no genius. I just read the executive order. Signed in 93 by Herr Clinton. And continued by every president. They disagree on rhetoric, but the program is exactly the same. Always getting worse. So I'm going to break down what the New World Order is, what it's going to look like, and where this financial crisis is going, and then how we can counter them. Now, if I get into too many details, I've done this many times in piece here, piece there. I want to just basically state the program and then go back over the evidence of it and then talk about how we fight it. Because if I go into rabbit trails and detail each subsection and go into those files in my brain and cover them, we'll never get it all covered. All right, stay with me. Key transmission straight ahead. I am breaking down what the global corporate crime syndicate is up to set up police states in the United States and Europe, as well as around the world, and to set up an international computer system worldwide and to get governments involved. All your governments want to be involved in drug criminalization, illegal drug criminalization, because there's such great profits in it, and those governments either have a large stake in the drug trade or fully control it. And so by having a black market, they make much larger profits, and they also get to then the private banks and companies that own the drug cartels, they get to then also own prison systems that are also very, very profitable, both with taxpayers and the slave labor for 20 cents an hour is basically what it is, that also displaces and drives down wages in the host nation that the local slaves don't pick up on or figure out. And so they use that crisis and the crime that sprouts up around it, and the drug gangs that sprout up around it, who at the low level are distributing the drugs and fighting with each other over the drugs, over the street distribution. They use that, and that boosts crime, homes being invaded, people being shot. That creates more fear. Cops get scared. A bunch of them get killed in a phony drug war who aren't on the take, or some who are on the take. Then they get to expand their numbers. They get to get militarized and federalized. I mean, what would the cops have to do if it wasn't for the phony drug war? That's more than half of what they do. And so they started having the military secretly 25 years ago do drug raids, gun raids all over the country when it was totally illegal, to create those secret relationships with intelligence agencies and the police departments to corrupt the police, get them involved in the drug dealing as well. Then they start staging terror attacks to scare the public and have constant bomb drills where they blow up cars, which has the perception of real terrorism, where they treat every cardboard box on the side of the street as a great threat to train everyone that black uniforms and armored vehicles are normal, and there's all this fear that there's an enemy in the public who's unseen and who can't be caught. And so it doesn't matter if 1,000+ times people die in drownings every year that die of terrorism in the U.S., they still, are scared of this epic monster that's around the corner everywhere. So the real terrorist, the government, can then play the part of the savior. And then once they've got their militarized control grid, and this is all in the IMF and World Bank documents, Trilateral Commission reports, Club of Rome reports, we've published them all up on Infowars.com. This is what's declassified. They admit phony environmentalism is totally phony. Carbon tax is a way to regulate, control our lives, have carbon checkpoints, inspect our homes, shut down family farms and ranches. The big corporations are exempt or selectively enforced. Then people are diverted from real environmental problems like genetic engineering and toxic waste dumping and things like that, and toxic fertilizer use. They're diverted away from real environmental crises into loathing humans, hating humans, carrying out a eugenics idea of humans being bad and the state implementing a war against them. Elite humans against slave humans. That's stated by Richard N. Haas, the CFR, Club of Rome, all of them. We've published them. Paul's written articles on it. So you've got that multi-pronged false attack, the phony environmental attack to regulate and control your life. I mean, why would a free American put up with a bureaucrat in their house, or an inspector telling them what they can or can't build, or what your children can eat, or how much meat you can have? Oh, it's for the earth. And we're taking all your rights and putting up face scanning and body scanning cameras on street corners, not just in airports, because there's terrorists everywhere. And when you point out, well, why is the border wide open? They say, never mind that. We're just building the border to keep you in, but not people out. They want more roaches in. We're roaches. The slaves that get in are roaches. We're all seen as roaches by the New World Order. Black, white, old, young, doesn't matter. Roaches don't get out. Roaches are only allowed in. So, and they changed the laws where you can't get your money offshore after the elite all moved offshore. Did that in the last year. They changed the laws where you can't declare bankruptcy, but they can. They changed the laws where there's no Fourth Amendment and they can watch everything you're doing and make stuff up. They changed the laws to make you incriminate yourself.